Annie was a young girl with quiet eyes and a soft heart. She lived in a small house where laughter existed, but never for her, her mother. Clara was known in the neighborhood as a generous woman. Every Christmas, she gave gifts to relatives, neighbors, and even strangers. People praised her kindness. But behind closed doors, Annie lived a different truth. Christmas morning arrived with lights, decorations, and excitement. Annie woke up early, her heart pounding with hope. She believed just once that maybe this year would be different. She sat quietly in the living room as her mother handed out gifts. To her cousins, beautiful dresses. To neighbors, children, new toys. To everyone, smiles and hugs. Then the gifts ended. Annie waited. Minutes passed. Her hands trembled. Finally, she whispered, "Mom, is there something for me?" Clara didn't even look at her. "You don't deserve gifts," she said coldly. "You're useless. You never do anything right." The room went silent. Annie felt something crack inside her. This wasn't new. Clara had always compared Annie to others. "Why aren't you smart like her? Why are you so slow? You're a burden." Annie tried harder every day. She cleaned the house. She helped in the kitchen. She studied late at night, but nothing was ever enough. That Christmas night, Annie sat alone in her room. Through the wall, she heard laughter. She hugged her knees and cried silently, afraid even her tears would be considered a mistake. She didn't want revenge, not yet. She just wanted to matter. That night, Annie looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her eyes were red, her face tired. But something else was there. Strength, too, she whispered to herself. "One day, they will see my value. Not because I beg for it, but because I build it." This wasn't the start of anger. It was the start of awakening. Christmas passed. But the cold it left inside Annie stayed. The lights were taken down. The gifts were used. The laughter faded. But Annie's hurt did not. After that day, Annie changed. She stopped asking questions, stopped expecting kindness, stopped hoping. At the breakfast table, she ate quietly. In the evenings, she stayed in her room. At night, she cried into her pillow so no one could hear. Her mother noticed but didn't care. "Why are you always so dull?" her mother would say. "Look at other girls your age. They are useful." Each word pressed deeper into Annie's heart. School was the only place Annie felt alive. She studied harder than ever. She stayed back to help teachers. She volunteered for everything, not because she wanted praise, but because she wanted to prove she wasn't useless. Teachers noticed her dedication. "You have potential," one of them said. Those words felt like sunlight after a long winter. At home, her mother compared her constantly. "Your cousin is smarter. Your sister is prettier. You will never succeed like others." Annie stopped responding. She learned something important. Arguing with someone who enjoys hurting you is pointless. One evening, a neighbor praised Annie. "She helped my son with his studies. Such a good girl." Annie smiled for the first time in days, but her mother's face hardened. Later that night, her mother said sharply, "Don't act like you're special. You're nothing without me." That sentence broke something inside Annie. That night, Annie stood in front of the mirror. Her eyes were swollen. Her hands trembled. She whispered, "One day, you will see my worth. And when you do, I won't need your approval anymore." That was the moment her revenge was born. Not revenge of anger, not revenge of hate, but revenge of success. Annie began saving money from small tutoring jobs. She researched scholarships secretly. She planned a future where love was not conditional. Her mother didn't notice, she thought. Annie was still weak. She was wrong. Christmas passed. But the cold inside Annie did not melt. The house returned to normal routines. Yet Annie felt like a guest in her own home. Her mother spoke to her only when necessary, and even then, with disappointment woven into every word. "You're too slow. You're not good at anything. Learn from others." Annie stopped responding, not because she agreed, but because she had decided to change her fate. One night, Annie looked at her reflection. She saw a girl who had been ignored, belittled, emotionally starved, and she made a promise. I will become someone they cannot ignore. Annie began spending more time at the local library. She studied, read books, learned skills. She discovered she was good at writing, exceptionally good. Words became her escape, her weapon. Her voice. Her teachers noticed. You're talented, one said. That single sentence healed years of damage. Annie entered a school competition without telling her mother she won. First prize. Her name was announced. Her work was praised. Her confidence grew. When her mother found out, she said coldly, "Don't let it get to your head." But Annie saw something behind those words. Unease. People began complimenting Annie, neighbors, relatives, teachers. Her mother heard the praise. And for the first time, Annie noticed a crack in her mother's authority. Because control fades when the ignored become visible. Annie no longer waited for approval. She stopped seeking validation. She focused on her future. Scholarships, opportunities, dreams. And slowly, the house that once felt like a prison began to feel irrelevant. Annie knew something important. Revenge didn't need shouting. It needed success. And success was now within reach. Her mother still believed Annie was weak. That mistake would soon cost her. Years passed. Annie was no longer that silent girl standing in the corner on Christmas morning. She had built a life with her own hands. Education became her escape. Hard work became her shield. Pain became her fuel. And success became her answer. One winter, an invitation arrived. A family Christmas gathering. Her mother had organized it for the first time in years. Annie returned not as the unwanted child, but as a confident, independent woman. The same house, the same decorations, but a very different Annie, relatives whispered. Is that Annie? She looks so confident. She's doing so well in life. Her mother froze. She had never imagined Annie would rise this high. During dinner, her mother tried to take credit. She was always quiet. But I raised her well, she said. Annie calmly stood up. Her voice was steady. On Christmas, you gave gifts to everyone except me. You told me I was useless. You made me invisible. Silence filled the room. I didn't succeed because of your love, Annie continued. I succeeded despite its absence. Annie didn't shout. She didn't insult. She simply told the truth. And truth hurt more than anger ever could. Her mother's eyes filled with regret for the first time. Later that night, her mother approached Annie. I was wrong, she whispered. I didn't know how much I hurt you. Annie replied softly. I waited my whole childhood to hear that. She forgave her, but never forgot the lesson.